let's get into the story because I really want to put y'all onto this. So I ended up on this dating app a while back, and it was my first time ever signing up for a dating app. I've always had my reservations because I was like, yo, there's some crazy people out there, and I don't want to run into any crazies. Like, I ain't trying to get kidnapped and like end up in another country, don't know where I'm at because I decided to go on a freaking date with this one psycho. But I was like, what are the odds that that would happen to me, right? So I get to like swiping and looking, and you know, some guys I was like, ugh, corny, whack, nah, until I saw this man. I was like, oh, he is fine. Like, I mean, gorgeous, model, gorgeous, wow. And so we matched, and I decided to shoot my shot and say, hey, you're really attractive. And he hits me with the, you are gorgeous and stunning. So I'm just like, okay, I think I found my husband, right? So we get to talking, and like we exchange numbers. We get off the app and we're talking, and we finally get on the phone, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like his voice is so sexy. The conversation was so amazing. I mean, we're on the phone for like 4 hours, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I've known you in the past life. So now he goes and he's like, yo, I would really love to take you out on a date. And he's like, let me pick the place. Let me be a gentleman. I got you, right? I was like, yo, they don't make them like this in New York anymore, right? So I let him pick the place, and he asked me my favorite, cuisines were, and Italian is always my top choice. So he's like, I know the best Italian spot. Yeah, we end up meeting at this spot the next day, right? I mean, it was given Lady and the Tramp. But I wasn't the tramp, but you know. It was so romantic, so sweet. I mean, I get there, I'm looking gorgeous. He's there, tall, handsome. I mean, wow. Like, so I'm a little shy, but he orders a bottle of wine. We start laughing. Food starts coming out. We're talking. I'm like, this is the one, right? He then goes and he's like, yo, I know the perfect gelato spot. I'm like, okay, you just giving me all Euro. Like, I planned this date out in like a matter of hours, honestly. But we get gelato, and we're eating, and he's just looking into my eyes, and he's like, I feel like I know you. And I'm like, funny, I feel like I know you too. And he's like, wait, you do? From where? I was like, I know, I just meant like metaphorically. And he's just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, but whatever. So the vibes are so perfect that I go, like, he goes and says to me, he's like, hey, do you want to come back to my place? It's not too far from here. We could just sit on a stoop. I'm like, you're not crazy or anything, right? I was like, you're not a serial killer, like, on the run. And he goes, why would you say that? Why would you say that? I was like, I was just kidding. Oh my, I'm just like, I was really just kidding. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. He's like, oh no. He's like, I'm sorry. He was like, sometimes I can't take a joke when it's an obvious joke. He's like, but he was like, I'm not, he was like, I'm the safest man on the planet. He's like, I couldn't even hurt a fly. He was like, girl, my record's so clean. Trust me. So it's like, I'm like, okay, that's a lot of information, but I believe you. Cool. So he goes and says to me, he's like, but he's like, you want to come? I was like, you know what? I'm thinking, what are the odds that I end up with FBI's most wanted man? Like, seriously, what are the odds? Just my mother-loving luck. I end up with someone that is a little, So we go back to the script, right? We're sitting on a stoop, and I mean, so romantic, so sweet. And I'm telling you, it just feels like I'm connecting to this guy, but I just kept having this one eerie feeling. I didn't know what it was. So I'm like, all right, let me just chill and not, because maybe it's my fear of dating apps. I feel like I'm gonna run into a psycho, right? At this point, we've been chilling on a stoop, and like the vibes are amazing. He's like, hey, do you want to just come in for a glass of wine? Because he's like, I really don't want this night to end, and I feel like I found the one. Like, I feel like I found like you, and I've been searching for you for such a long time. So I'm just like, oh my God, that is the most romantic thing I've ever heard. So I'm just like, you know what? Yeah, mind you, I still have this weird gut feeling, but I'm like, he's fine. He looks normal. Like, it's a beautiful ass man. So we end up in his crib and we're talking again, and you know, things start getting a little odd. Like, just a little odd. Like, first of all, the apartment was beautiful. I mean, perfect. And it was so well kept. The towels in the bathroom, went to the bathroom to go wash my hands. The towels were wrapped up so perfect. It was almost as if I was in a hotel. So he goes and tells me, I'm like, yo, did you design this place? He's like, yeah. And he's like, you know, I was living here for 3 years. You know, it's just always like this. I'm like, do you have a cleaning lady that comes in here and just like picks up the place for you? He was like, no, I just do it myself. So I'm like, okay. I was like, you've been living here for 3 years? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, something just seemed off about that, right? Crazy part about this was, for someone to have lived in an apartment for 3 years, there were no photos of him at all. And, you know, some people don't have photos of themselves, but like, it just felt like it wasn't, like, it was, like, his clothes weren't there. Like, it just felt like, you know, like you go to someone's home and you feel like it's their home, like they live there. It looks lived in. It wasn't given that, right? So at this point, like, my alarms in my body are just going off, but I'm like, stop, girl. You're being nervous for no reason, right? So he goes and he tries to go make me a drink, and I'm like looking, and I'm like trying to make sure, you know, he don't put no nothing in it. But I'm like, okay, you're being a psycho. Like, girl, just be on this date. This guy is amazing. You guys hit it off. You guys are clicking, and it just feels right. But it still doesn't. So I go and I'm like, yo, you are just so gorgeous. Like, I just want to take a photo of you. Can I take a photo of you? He's like, no, don't take no photos of me. I'm like,
oh, shoot. Oh.
Huh? He's like, I don't want photos of me. I was like, I'm like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's just, I got a photophobia. I'm like, a photo what?
Not
A
photophobia.
photophobia. I'm like, but you have a photo of you on your thing. He's like, yeah, but like, I just got a photophobia. I'm like, what? Me not realizing, right? The photos on the app seemed a little altered, because when I saw him, I was like, you know, he's gorgeous, but he does look a little different. But they're altered, like and he has like a lot of like, you know, mysterious like posts, like, you know, like hood, and he's just like, you know, he told me, he's like, I just like to be all incognito, you know, I don't like people knowing too much about me. I'm like, okay. So when I guess I was gonna take like a bare-faced photo of him, like a, you know, an actual. And a lot of things will make sense, because as I'm telling you the story, I'm just like, but whatever, right? So I go and I'm like, all right, no photos. But you know me, if you don't, I'm going to snap a photo. You tell me not to do something, I'm going to do it, baby. It's a Sag in me. So I pick up my phone, I'm texting, I'm pretending to text, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm texting my friend. He was like, why? I was like, because I just want them to know I'm okay. He's like, oh, okay. And I quickly go, snap without him. So I take that photo, and you know, without him realizing, and I sent it to my girls group chat, and I'm like, y'all, this is a guy that I'm on a date with, because I never sent them a photo. I just told him he was fine as hell, but I was like, this is a guy I'm on a date with, and he's getting all weird about me taking photos. Can y'all just like do like a little quick background check? And I'm also gonna share my location. And you know, my phone was quiet for a second, and then my friend sends me a message. She's like, you need to leave. You need to get out of there right now. And I'm like, hey guys, so my bad. I got caught up with life and work and stuff, but I'm back with part 2. So last when we left off, I was saying I got a text message from my best friend, and she's like, girl, leave. So I get that message from her, and the first thing that happens is my heart feels like it's about to stop, because I'm just sitting here like, oh my God. Like, what does she see? What's going on? And I'm also thinking, is she playing a prank on me? So I'm trying to keep calm under pressure. So he's looking at me, send a message, and I'm just like, girl, time to be an actor. So I'm just like, he's like, what happened? I'm like, my friends are so stupid. They're just like, girl, I hope you're not out there being weird and freaky with that guy. And he's just like, oh, wow, your friends are dumb. And in the back of my head, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so scared. So at this point, I've already had my heart fall out of my, because everything that I felt like I was afraid of was happening. So I'm trying to play it cool, and I'm just like, what do you mean he's on the FBI most wanted list? And she's like, he's on the FBI's most wanted list. She's like, I'm gonna send you a screenshot of this right now. But girl, like, he is wanted and he's on the run, and he's been on the run. I don't understand how you've gotten in his web, but he's on. So I'm sitting here like, how would someone that's on the run be on a dating app?
Right.
So then I'm thinking, oh my God. So he can kidnap me, because it has to be why he's on a run, because he just lures women, right? So I'm thinking all the worst things, and I have yet to ask her, well, what is it he's on the run for?
Yeah.
So she goes and sends me a screenshot, right? And there he is on the FBI's most wanted list. And I'm just like, first of all, looking fine as hell. But I'm sitting here like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So he goes and I guess I was in the restroom for so long, right? So he's just like, yo, are you good in there? And I'm like, oh yeah, my stomach is just like messed up. I'm so embarrassed. Oh my God. Cause that's like, I mean, at that point, I don't care. What, like, you on the FBI's most wanted list. So me taking a boo-boo, it don't really matter right now. I'm not that embarrassed. You should be embarrassed that you here with me right now. But hey, whatever. So I stopped caring, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, oh my God, he's really been on the run for months. I mean months, right? So
What though?
I decide, I'm like, let me just see what he's wanted for, because I'm more scared that like I'm with a freaking psychopathic killer murderer right now who wants to kidnap me. So I'm like, oh my God, I was so scared, and I'm like nervous because, you know, when you want to find out the truth about something, but you're so afraid of what the truth is going to be what you think it is, right? So I'm just like shaking up, and I'm like, ugh. So I go and read. Yo,
What?
this guy
What?
literally is one of the biggest bank robbing heist men on the planet. Like, I mean, like, he's wanted for stealing so much money, and this is like he's a career criminal. So at this point, I'm like, ow, I got me I saw Money Heist on Netflix, okay, and I was intrigued. So I'm sitting here like, wait, that's what he's
problem
wanted
now.
for? Oh. And then I'm like, oh. And it made sense to me, because I had asked him, I was like, oh, like when we were on the phone and we were talking, and you know, like we were like asking each other questions. I was like, oh, what do you do? And he's like, I don't really do anything. I'm a nepotism baby. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, he comes from money. So things are easy for him, right? Life is easy for him. So I'm just like, okay, nepo baby. But this whole time, he was stealing money. So I'm like, wait, I gotta check my pockets and my purse. I left my purse out there with him. But you know, that's besides the point. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, literally, like, what am I gonna do? Because my other thing is, like, I don't want him to know that I know he's on a run, because Lord knows what he's going to do, right? Like, how he's going to react. So I'm just like, okay, be cool. But I'm like on the phone with my best friend whispering, I'm like, I gotta call you, just text me. And she's like, okay. But she's like, I'm on my way, I gotta come get you. She was like, I'm gonna call the cops. I was like, don't do that, don't call. First of all, because I ain't no snitch. But also, I'm just like, don't do that, because I don't want him to just get triggered and act crazy or something. So she's like, okay, cool. So she told me she's on her way. So I sent her my address, right? My location. Boom. So as I'm getting ready to, this is the crazy part. As I'm getting ready to, like, I'm like shaking right now, like, to go out, like, get out of the bathroom door. I open the bathroom door and it pulls back. And I'm like, what? So I pull it and it pulls right back. And I'm just like, are you on the other side of the door? He's like, yes. His voice, like, changes. Like, I mean, it turns into, like, this deep, monotone, dark voice, like, yes. And I'm like, okay. So I say to him, I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, you know, don't you? I was like, no, what? He's like, you know. I was like, so last where we left off, I was fighting with him with the door. He was pulling it back while I was pulling, like, like trying to pull it to open. And so I'm panicking now, and he's like, you know, don't you? And I'm like, know what? And he's like, don't play stupid. I know you know. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know nothing. Please don't hurt me. He's like, calm down. And I'm just like, no, just let me go. I don't know nothing. I promise I won't tell. He's like, yo, calm down. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna calm down. Yo, this is like the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, truly. So he goes, and so he tells me, you need to calm down, and I need to talk, and you need to listen. And I just say, you know what? Okay. He was like, do you know? And I was like, yes, I know. He's like, okay, who were you on the phone with? And I was like, my best friend. He was like, he gets pissed off. He's like, talk about, like I could hear him from the other end of the door. And I'm just like, oh, that's it. I'm done for. So he goes and he's like, yo, listen. He's like, I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. I did some things. He was like, I'm not going to hurt you, but I need you to give me your phone. So I'm like, my phone? He's like, yeah, I need you to give me your phone. I was like, why? I'm not giving you my phone. I can't give you my phone. He's like, Chelsea, I need you to give me the phone, and I need you to calm down. I don't watch a lot of these true crime shows, and I already know the thing you need the most is your phone. Because when you got to get out of there and call somebody, who you gonna call if you don't got a phone? So I'm just like, no, you can't have my phone. He's like, yo, he's like, this is not me asking. This is me telling you. That's when I realized, oh, so he said I don't got a choice. Oh, this man is using threatening tones and words with me, right? Okay, I'm gonna give him my phone because he's kind of crazy and he's gonna want to listen. I don't want to, I just don't want to tempt a man that's wanted. But he wants some money. So I'm thinking, is he that dangerous? But whatever, who cares? I just know he's a thief. So anyway, so at this point, I'm just like, okay, what are you gonna do with my phone? He's like, I'm gonna grab your phone. I'm going to leave. You were to leave when I leave, but 15 minutes after. So now, I go and say to him, I'm like, he goes and says to me, he's like, what did your friend say? I was like, she's coming to pick me up. He's like, did she call the cops? I said, no, she did not call the cops. I told her not to. She's coming to pick me up. She just wants me to come out. I just want to get out of here, okay? I want no problems. He said, He thinks for a second. He's like quiet for a second. Then he goes and says, actually, new plan. You're going to come with me, and I'm going to drop you off somewhere for your friend to come pick you up. And that's when I'm like, oh, hell no. I am not getting in the car with a thief because he's about to steal me. So at this point, I'm really just like, what the heck did I get myself into? I should have never signed up for that dating app because I knew it, and I didn't listen to myself, and I knew it. So I'm just like, do I have a choice? He's like, no, you really don't. So I was ready to go kicking and screaming, right? So boom. Now he goes and he says, what's your friend's number? I'm like, why? He's like, because I need to call her and tell her the new plan. So I give him my friend's number. He gets on the phone and he's like, this is what we're doing. I am giving you an address. You're going to meet me there. Do not call the cops. If you call the cops, it's going to go bad. And she's just like, from what she told me, she was like, how, don't touch her. You better not touch her hair, huh? Or else I'm going to get all my people on you, bye. Whatever. We end up getting in the car. And at this point, I'm realizing this is so not safe. Like, first of all, this can't be happening to me at all, but it's happening. So we're driving. I'm freaking out. He has a gun. And he's like, I'm not going to use this on you, but I got to protect myself. I'm like, you? I'm the one that needs protection. I'm here in the car with 5-finger discount, and you talking about you need to protect yourself, but whatever. Anyway, so I go in the car, and I'm just like, it feels like we're driving for like a really long time. But I guess that's what happens when you're practically getting kidnapped. But anyway, I get to asking him, I'm like, yo, why do you do what you do? And he's like, he goes and says, he's like, well, I lived a very hard life, like a very, very tough life. And I'm like, so did I. But you don't see me going to banks and stealing. But okay. So he goes, he's like, look, he was like, I don't need you judging me. I lived a very rough life. I did what I did. I made some mistakes, and I'm trying to change my life around. I'm like, how are you trying to change your life around when you on the run? You're literally on the run. I'm practically on the run with you. I'm an accomplice. But I'm not trying to judge him, because, you know, people do stupid things, and you just got to learn from them. But, I mean, this situation is a little extreme, but hey, whatever, right? So now I'm sitting in this car, and, you know, it's been a little time, and I'm looking at the time in the car. I'm like, okay, all right. And then as I'm sitting there, it clicks to me. I'm like, I look at him, I'm like, was it even real? Was any of this real? What were you gonna do with me? What were you planning on doing? Were you ever going to tell me this? And he's like, I've only known you for one day. He's like, but he was like, the conversation was real. He was like, the energy, everything was real. He was like, I was really feeling you. And he was like, you just had to find out. And I'm sorry, but like, just for context, I was really actually feeling this guy. Like, really, truly feeling him. Like, it was a rough past year for me. Got out of a really bad relationship. And I kept saying, I need to stop choosing the bad boy types, the one that breaks your heart, or the liars, because they just, you know, got me. And here I am doing it again. But it was so crazy because, like, I felt like I knew him in a past life. So as crazy as it is, don't judge me, but I was thinking, I was like, I mean, I could be the Bonnie to his Clyde. I mean, because we were in the car though, and I cracked a few jokes, and you know, it kind of, we were just having conversation. It was awkward. I was scared. I really was scared. Most of the time I was definitely just trying to distract him from possibly killing me. But there was a moment where I was just like, yo, like, you're actually really cool and this sucks. So anyway, this is the crazy part. So remember when I specifically told my friend on the phone, and so did he, to not call the cops, right?
Lord.
The girl called the cops.
Wow.
I don't know how, when, what, where, why. But things are calm, and I'm like, okay, I just want to get out this car. I got to use the restroom. I'm going to go home, shower. This nightmare is all going to go away. Nope. All we hear is, we're talking, and it's quiet. And all I hear is, wheel. I'm like, oh, hell no. So, when I tell you I was so scared, like, really, truly, like, I was genuinely so scared, because I like to de-escalate situations. She did the one thing I told her not to do. I don't know why. I don't know. Well, I know why now. Because she said she called her dad, and her dad was like, you need to call the cops. And I'm like, bro, you gonna listen to your father when I'm in the situation, not your daddy?
Right.
So anyway, he looked over at me. He said, yo, did you call the cops? I was like, how? I was here the whole time. Like, he goes and looks at me. He's like, it looks like he's like reaching for his gun, and he starts shaking his head. He's like, it was your friend. It was your friend. It was your motherfucker. And I'm just like, oh my God. The guy who is calm crazy is now crazy. So he starts speeding. I mean, he does not stop. So now I'm on a wild goose chase. He looks at me while he's driving, and he's just like shaking his head. He's like, yo, he's like, and I don't want to hurt you, man. I don't want to hurt you. And I'm like, 24 hours ago, you were saying how I could be the one. Now you want to hurt me. He's looking at me like, yo, shaking his head. And I'm just like, it was not me. I don't know why she did. I said, yo, let me just roll out the car. I could roll out the car. He was like, Chelsea, he's like, I don't know what we're going to do. But he's like, and I'm like, we? Ever since when did I become part of this I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I'm a hostage. We? What's a... Oh, we? So now it gets worse. Like, he's in the car, he's freaking out, and then he has like this death stare. He's just like, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So he's driving, he's speeding. At this point, I've accepted the fact that we are on the run together, okay? I start hearing a helicopter. That's when it all really becomes real to me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if they start shooting the car or something? Like, what if they're just like, I can't. This situation gets crazier by the second.